2 minutes until showtime. One minute until showtime.
Yay! Oh, man. 96? You got to be kidding. One more time with a little feeling this time, okay? Yay! Hey, 101. We did it. Very nice.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
All righty. Wow, what a crowd.
Yeah,
This is great, huh?
I didn't expect this. I figured it'd be too cold. There
Yeah.
Maybe 5 or 10 people here. What the heck, man?
Oh, this is great. A lot of familiar
Incredible.
faces
Yeah.
back.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up.
We really appreciate it. We keep our jobs for another week.
That's right.
Yeah, what a deal, huh?
Hey, we might even get a raise.
Yeah, you never can tell.
Raise in the
getting paid.
ass.
We're getting paid.
Yeah, well. Yeah, so anyway, everybody out there, too, thank you so much for checking in with us. I hope your weather is not as bad as it looks.
I'm sure Tony and Dolores were glad to get back from St. Louis.
Oh, boy. And you're glad to get back from Cincinnati.
I am, but I'm heading back up tonight.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
Business.
We got a guy here today. He's living the life I dreamed of, and he's been a member of the Great Race for a number of years. The Great Race is cars have to be at least 50 years old, and they travel all over the country at different locations. The year I went in 04, we went from Jacksonville to Monterey, California in 2 weeks in a 35 Ford.
Wow.
And it was incredible. And this guy's got all kinds of stories. Mr. Pete LaMountain, everybody.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, thank you.
Glad to have you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We had Bill Jostler lined up, and Bill had a little medical emergency, so he's sitting in for him, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, Bill owes me now.
Oh, yes, he does. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, so how'd you get involved in the Great Race anyway?
Back in 15, my friend wanted to do Route 66.
Oh, yeah.
And he called me up and said the Great Race was going to do it and asked me if I'd drive.
Mm-hmm.
I said, absolutely.
So where was point A and where was point B?
It was starting in St. Louis, Missouri, or Kirkwood, and it went to Santa Monica Pier.
Isn't that something?
And I agreed to drive for him. Never knew what the Great Race was. Waited till February of that year. Started looking it up and realized, wow. So we did it in a 64 Impala.
Oh, boy.
We had one pre-rally up in Joplin. We flew in, did it in a rental car.
Right.
Most fun you can have in a rental car.
Oh, yeah.
What a great car, though, 64 Impala.
64 Impala, and
Oh,
it
boy.
served us well. And I wound up driving for him for 7 years.
Really?
Yep.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
Did the car have air?
It had air, factory
kidding.
air.
Wow.
Oh, man, they're going first class there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. So did they have designated spots that you could stop in, or like if you said, "Oh, this place looks friendly, I'll stop in here for gas"?
If you're on the clock, they tell you where to go, how fast to go, when to turn. Might not give you a street name. It might say the first paved road or after this street sign, and you hopefully catch the right one.
So it does you well to follow directions.
You have to follow directions.
Yeah,
This
because
is not.
if you don't, it throws you off course, and there goes your lap or your race time.
I don't know why they call it a race.
Yeah.
It's a rally. It's a speed, time, endurance, and discipline rally.
Yeah.
If anything, you're driving at 15 miles an hour for 20 minutes. That's very hard to
Yes.
You have to be disciplined. And if you don't maintain the exact speed, you're either losing or gaining time. So when you go by a checkpoint, that's how the one closest to the perfect time.
That's how they know if you've been cheating or not.
Well, no, there's no cheating. That's how they know if you took a detour.
I see.
Yeah. And then you get stopped by a train, and that screws everything up.
You have to time that.
Yeah.
Because like I say, it's all about timing.
Yep.
Being called a race is a misleading thing, but
You have to know your math.
yeah.
And I was terrible at math.
And I drove, and I had an engineer as a navigator, and it worked out very well.
Really?
And I learned from watching him as a driver. In the last 2 years, I've been the navigator, and I have my wife drives now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you guys have done very well, too, haven't you?
Yes, we traded in that 64 because of the age factor. You get if you drive an older car, you get a factor, a handicap factor. And we trade in that 64, and we do it in a 32 Ford with a flat head and a 3-speed, and it's a lot. And people will get jealous of that factor, but it's earned. I mean, it's not just a leisurely drive like in the Impala.
How's the ride in the 32 compared to the Impala?
The view's good.
Bad for your hemorrhoids.
Yeah,
in other words.
no, it's a comfortable car. We've got a modern seat in it, but it is a flathead, so it's underpowered, 84 horsepower. And
But you don't need a lot of power, though.
no, you don't need. You just need consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds interesting, Buzz.
Oh, it's incredible. Incredible. Yeah, we did it in a 35 Ford. It was a replica of the car that Bill France Sr. drove on the beach in 36.
No kidding.
We had number 10 on it, had Bill France's name on the door. And we'd come into these little towns for these breaks, and some good-looking gal would come up and say, "Are you Bill France?" And Bill, the guy I was with, he said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I am, yes." But it was...
What the hell lie?
Oh,
If you got to, you got to.
oh, yeah. But it was just the most amazing thing we've been involved with. My wife was in the chase truck, so she didn't get to see all the back roads and everything. But still, she was a trooper, though. And it worked out really well.
That's a long haul.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 1 week to do our laundry. I mean, 1 day in Colorado Springs to do our laundry. And I had planned on going up to Pikes Peak. My lifelong dream was to go to Pikes Peak. And we got there and the road was closed because the weather was bad.
Right.
So now I'm going to have to go back someday. I
In
don't know where.
2022, we started in St. Augustine, Florida, and we went to Colorado Springs.
Oh, yeah.
So we did Pikes Peak.
But did you really?
Yes, you could take the car. We chose not to.
Okay.
We took the cog rail up.
Oh,
But
did you really?
Yeah, but we did Pikes Peak. That's where it finished. And
Uh-huh.
that was a good rally.
I'll be darned. How long did it take you?
Oh, well, that was when you did it, it was 2 weeks. Now it's 9 days.
Okay.
And there's no day to do laundry.
Is that
So-
right? Oh, okay. So you got to bring enough
Yeah,
laundry
you
with
either
you.
bring enough or.
So do they have designated hotels where
They do have
everybody stays in?
Yep. Come February, we get to pick the hotels, and that's not part of the fee, but they do handle it for you. And they have 4 or 5 hotels in each town, and you'll pick whichever one you prefer, and so you're all staying in the same places.
Right. How could this ever be a moneymaker? Do you have sponsors, or how do they?
Oh no, it's typical racing. You start with a lot and finish with a little.
Yeah, that's right.
I know.
That's exactly right.
I know that paragraph. Trust me.
Yeah. No, we won our division this year, which was a big trophy and a decent sized check. And then each day you win, you get a check. And then we also finished in the top 10 out of the 140, and you get a check for that. And it's still probably covered about 75% of the expense.
So I'll ask you both, since you both had experience with this. The first time, it has to be challenging to know the whole format, to understand the format.
Oh, boy.
So you have to be on the top, tip of your toes.
Oh, sure. The first week we were still learning. You know.
The first year is absolutely the best because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
The second year is frustrating because you think you know what you don't know.
Yeah. The year we went, Jack Roush's daughter won the event, and but then there was a 1916 Hudson that finished the exact same time. Now this is, like I don't know, 3,000 miles over 14 days, and they finished with the exact same time down to the second. But the Hudson actually got first place money because they were the older car.
Yep.
But Jack Rush's daughter had won that event too, so they got second place.
Yeah. Wasn't Bill France, didn't he have a Hudson out here at the parade?
Jim France did.
Or Jim France.
No, it was a Nash.
Oh, that's right. It was Nash. A silver Nash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hope to see it again this year.
Oh, it'll be there.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I've actually seen that where two cars tied.
Is that right?
And they were both 1916 Hudsons.
Oh, boy.
And they both had the exact same time. So then they go back to the trophy run.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
pre-rally. They have you do a half-a-day rally, which
Yep.
doesn't, it doesn't get scored, but it's used as a tiebreaker. And they had to go back to that, and it was only about 0.3 of a second.
God, isn't that amazing?
was different there.
That shows you how competitive it is.
You figure 2,600 miles, and these guys are 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Of being off perfect, and it came down to having a three-way tiebreaker.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite an experience. So I recommend it to everybody. What's it cost to get into the race nowadays?
Corporate sponsors like $9,000.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just a private, like I am, it's $7,000.
Okay.
And then you've got your hotel rooms on top of that, fuel, transportation of vehicle.
You got your chase vehicle too.
Chase vehicle.
Yeah.
And a room for it's upward of $15,000 to do.
Oh yeah.
But it's a once in a lifetime chance you get to do every year.
That's the way to
Once
put
in a
it.
lifetime chance. $15,000 times 10. That's 150 G's.
Yeah. Once you get there, you got to come back. So you
Yeah.
have an expense of that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this year we're starting in St. Paul, Minnesota at it's a car show, Back to the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big event. We're going to be we're like the special guest there for the start of that.
Right.
And we're going to be finishing in Lake Murray, South Carolina. So,
Oh yeah.
So that gives me a good reason. We'll just drive the car right down to here and back to Florida and spend a week in July here.
There you go. That'll work.
Yep.
Yeah. Lake Murray's right outside of Columbia, South
Yep.
Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah.
You would know that.
I would know that, yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. They, geez, I wish I had known that they were taking off from St. Augustine. We would have gone up there, but
yeah, that was a good rally.
Yep.
What's the number of entries?
This year we had 141.
Are you serious?
I think 160 registered, but I think 141 took the flag.
Yeah.
And I believe 105 finished on the scoring.
Oh, no kidding.
So we lost quite a few cars. There was a lot of mountains this year, hills. It hurt a lot of cars.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Do they still put the nitrogen in your left front tire?
You can. You can. They don't do it for you, but.
Oh, but you can if you want to.
You can.
Yeah. That's right. We had Roush's people do it for us.
Yeah.
Yes, we were special.
Yeah, I'm special too, but on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, and what that does is it compensates for any atmospheric pressure with your speedometer.
Yeah, the heat doesn't have it expand.
That's right.
Because if your tire grows now, it's going to change your measurement of the distance.
Yep. And that's how exact these things are.
So I'll start out with nitrogen in all 4 tires, and I'll top it off with air every morning if I need to.
So I assume that the course is not just limited to Route 66.
No, it's every
all over
the country. I've been all over from one end to the other.
And your favorite?
I don't know. This year was pretty nice. We started in Owensboro, Kentucky, and we finished up in Maine. So we had a lot of nice hills and back roads and mountains.
Yeah, back roads, man. You swear you're in somebody's backyard. Sometimes, they take you back through some of the darndest roads. And the course master we had the year we were there was sadistic. He ran us by every junkyard he could find, and all these incredible old cars sitting there, and you can't stop. You can't ask about them. You just have to go by and drool and go to the next one.
You'd like to stop for 45 minutes or so and just see if you can
do you remember who it was? Was it John Clausen?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he's still beating us up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, what you do is you take off in the morning, and then by mid-morning you have a town that you stop for a break. Then you have your lunch break, and then you have a mid-morning or a mid-afternoon break, and then you have your evening break. Usually done about 5 o'clock, right?
So yeah, you're done by this year was probably more like 6:37.
Oh, really?
But you know, you figure 140 cars, you leave a minute apart.
Yeah.
So if you got starting spot 90, you're an hour and a half. So if the first car's out at 7:30, you're not leaving till 9.
Oh, jeez.
So if the first car's in at 5, you're not in till 6:30.
Yeah.
But when you start out, you're exactly a minute apart from everybody, and sometimes you can see, sometimes you can't. And then by the first, then you go by a checkpoint, and wherever if you had made a wrong turn, you got to stay in that position now.
Right.
Once you go by the checkpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Before a checkpoint, you can do whatever you can do to get back into your position.
Oh, yes.
And that's where the fun is.
Yes.
That's where it's not disciplined, and it becomes a race.
Yeah. Yeah, we took a wrong turn and ended up about 10 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So we drove like the hammers of hell,
Yep.
getting caught back up before we got back to the checkpoint. And it worked out well. That was exciting.
Yep. So then, like you said, then they put you into transit, and that's when at some point mid-morning they'll go into a transit where you need to keep track of your time, and you got to start if he tells you 30 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
It might only be 5 miles, but it'll give you 30 minutes. You can use the bathroom, get fuel,
Right.
whatever you need to do, and then get back in your line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the time that starts again, it looks like somebody took all them cars that were a perfect minute apart and shuffled them up like a deck of cards, because nothing's the way it should be.
That's right.
And then you go to lunch, and after lunch they give you an assigned time again, and you start on your position, so it's all back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then by that next break or next transit, it looks like the cards got shuffled again.
Right.
I have to ask you both, what enticed you to do this?
Money.
Well, you're crazy. Come on, fess up.
I just
go
love
ahead.
old cars and driving.
Yeah.
know.
You just now, what happened was Bill Baxter was the guy who owned the car that we had, and it was identical to the car that Bill France drove. So we had the car over at the archives one day, and Jim France came by and said, geez, that's just like my dad's car. And then Bill Baxter had mentioned to Jim about the great race. So he thought, man, that's a great promotion for Daytona USA, which used to be the attraction at the Speedway. So he hooked up a deal with Roush. We sent the car to Michigan and had the car totally redone, new motor, new everything, on Jim's dime. And we put Daytona USA on the car, and that's how it ended up. It was just strictly by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't get any money for doing it. We just got the joy of the adventure.
Gotcha.
Yep. And we got stuck on the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
No.
When they say don't drive on it, don't drive on it.
It was flooded the year we went.
Yeah. Oh, it was a mess.
Yeah, I hear you can be driving along and all of a sudden your right rear will just collapse or into the.
Oh, yeah. You were driving along and all of a sudden we felt the rear end drop. Because we were off the beaten path. We were stupid. We did it ourselves. So we got stuck, and right underneath you got that pristine white salt, and right underneath this black stinking muck. So we had to scoop all that crap out. And people were riding by, beeping and waving. Hey, how you doing?
Dumbass.
Yeah, that's right. So we had a guy come by in a 4x4, and he said, I see you knuckleheads out here all the time. So he went ahead and pulled us out. But then when we got to Provo, Utah that night, and Jack Roush usually started right in front of us, so he kept an eye on us. And, boy, he was fit to be tied when he saw all the salt on that wheel. He said, you make sure you get that wheel fixed, get that all cleaned up. And he just stood over us like a mother hen, making sure that we did it.
Yeah.
Well, what an adventure.
That would be.
It was incredible.
So Jack did it as well, or he just met
Oh,
you?
yeah. No, he did it as well. In fact, he was one of the owners at one time, and he had a whole fleet of flathead Fords, 3940 Fords, that he would bring. He'd bring his own machine shop, his own pit crew, his own semi. It was a heck of an operation.
Yeah, I bet so.
It was just amazing. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Pete LaMountain.
All right.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
All righty. Thank you so much. We do appreciate that. And this segment's being brought to you locally by Staples on International Speedway Boulevard. Anything for the office, they can take care of it for you. And if you want to check us out on the internet, you can go to the Legends of Racing Radio YouTube, and we're live. And then after the show, an hour later, we post it on Facebook. So you can go to Facebook or to YouTube. And also, the Living Legends of Auto Racing invite you to attend our January 28th meeting with guest speaker Ken Schrader. Schrader's going to be there. It's going to be at the Drive-In Christian Church up here on A1A, and it is free. So if you want to have a good time, Schrader is extremely talented as far as speaking and telling stories, and he can't beat it. He might even give an autograph or two. So the 28th of January.
He's got a million stories.
Oh boy, he sure does.
Yeah.
He sure does. Yep.
The one thing he won't talk about though is the viewership of when he stuck his head in to see Dale Sr.
Yeah. Yeah.
He won't talk about it.
Nope. No, he was the first one to get to the car after
Yeah.
Earnhardt wrecked.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate. But yeah, speaking of wrecks, there's no wrecks in the Great Race, right? Do you recall anybody ever wrecking their
Sure.
car? Really?
Oh yeah. Oh,
no
yeah.
kidding.
Oh yeah.
I'll be darned.
One year we were going down this long, lonely road, and all of a sudden, holding 50 for 45 minutes, and I see a ramp truck and ambulance, and just kept going. Another 40 minutes later, we come up, and it was a convertible Mustang.
Oh, really?
Was going to pass somebody so they could hold their speed, and they went to go take a left, T-boned them, and
man.
the car flipped over. It was a long morning.
Wow.
And everyone was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I've seen a couple wrecks.
I'll be darned.
For a matter of fact, the Impala that I drove for 7 years did the Great Race this year because somebody was doing a calibration run. You do it on the highway at 50 miles an hour, and they got rear-ended by a young kid who was drunk in the morning in a pickup truck. He didn't see that they were going slower than a 55.
Yeah.
And he wrecked their little Saab.
No
and
kidding.
they were going to miss the race this year, so I loaned them the 64.
I'll be darned.
And they flew in from Virginia up to Boston, took an Uber to my house, picked the car up, drove it back to Virginia,
Jeez.
drove it to Owensboro,
Yeah.
did the rally up to Maine, and then drove it back and brought it to my garage. I did 4,100 miles on the car.
Oh, really? Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Owensboro, Kentucky, home of Mike and
Daryl.
Daryl, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Greens and
Yeah, the
Jeremy
Greens.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
And there must be something in
Yeah.
the water there in Owensboro where they produce race drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That track was a hot track for years with the Greens and the
Oh,
wall
yeah.
trips. And
Oh, sure.
man,
Yep. Talk about a small world. You've got a little shop down in Port Orange on
yeah.
Lemon Street.
Yep.
And one night we were out cruising around, and I thought I'd show this friend of mine where his shop is, because we used to work out of that shop back in 1965, 66. And we had a Ford that was built by a Chevy that was built by Ray Fox, and Johnny Rutherford drove it in the 1966 Daytona 500. And so we're out there looking, and Pete comes out wondering what the hell we're doing out there. And so we told him the story, and he was kind enough to bring us into the shop. And boy, talk about memories, with Rutherford and the Bobby Johns drove the car, and several other people. But we had a great time. As a kid, I was totally mesmerized. I mean, we'd ride our bikes all the way from South Daytona to Port Orange every day after school and every weekend to work on that car.
And if you remember, there was also in that N Bay that Johnny Rutherford's car was built in. I had a New Smyrna car being built in there.
That's right. Yeah.
My guy who rented that N Bay from me, he raced weekly at New Smyrna. So
Oh,
you
did
were
he?
like, yeah, after 40 years, there's still cars being built in there.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really a pleasant surprise, and Pete was extremely hospitable to let us rowdies in there.
yeah. Pete, it's obvious you're not from Kentucky.
No.
Are you a New York boy?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I figured that.
Well, okay, there we go.
Another
yeah.
asshole.
Yeah, but he's here too.
Oh, okay.
So that worked out pretty good. Yeah. So, are you going to run this year?
I am going to run this year. My wife will be driving. We're after doing the hills last year, we realized that 80 horsepower just wasn't enough. So we had we have a 36 LB being built,
Oh, no
flathead
kidding.
right now with a stroker crank, and it's
Oh,
it's
man.
130 instead of 84 horse.
Beautiful.
So
That's great.
hopefully we can pull the hills a little better this year.
What's the route this year?
We're starting in St. Paul, Minnesota to Lake Murray.
Oh boy. Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. Yeah. I'm
we'll,
sorry.
we'll be in. One of our stops is Owensboro this year again. So
Oh, be darned.
I'm afraid we're going to have a lot of them hills.
Yeah.
We're preparing.
What's kind of neat? These little towns that host the race, they're in competition too. We get to vote on who
Best
did the
meal.
best job.
Yeah, best meal, best overnight, best lunch.
Boy, I'll tell you, they treat us like kings, don't they?
They make you feel like a celebrity.
Yeah. And the food is
they
fantastic.
probably look forward to it because there's strength in numbers, so they probably have a good pay ticket that day.
Oh yeah.
You know, with all those people that they feed.
Oh sure. Yeah. Well, the food is free, which is good.
The food is free.
The food is free.
Who pays for it?
The great rate. Well, the town that's putting it on.
I see.
Yep. Yeah, and then of course the hotel's not free though.
No,
we have
hotel's
to pay
not
the
free.
hotel.
Yep.
But they give us a break on the rate though, pretty much. You know. Yeah, and I remember that one little town in Utah we stopped and they had steak for us, steak for lunch. We liked that one a lot. They got our vote.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Although Maine, we had lobster.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, why not?
Buzz, was your trip consisted of Route 66 as well, or no?
No, I don't know if we crossed 66 at all. We were all back roads. And what you do too, like say you knock off say about 5. And then you might have another half hour, 45 minutes to go to the finish line, or not the finish line, but the town for that night.
Yep.
You know, and you can drive any speed you want then once you're off the course. You know, so we'd hit an interstate once in a while. And we did hit 66 in Needles, California. We hit a little stretch of Route 66. Yep.
I always wanted to do that trip, but you know, I've been involved with NASCAR for 20 years, and I can't tell you how many trips that I made up and down the highways, whether it be to St. Louis, whether it be to Michigan, where it was obvious that I would drive from Cincinnati, and it was just too much driving. I can't imagine. I don't like to.
This
I don't
is
like
a
to
total.
drive
This is
anymore.
a total different thing. You don't even realize I'm looking at paperwork or I'm looking at the speed, and I just want to do good. If I'm driving, I want to do good for my navigator, and if I'm navigating, I want to do good for my driver.
Yeah.
So you don't even realize that you're in the car for 10 hours.
Yeah.
By the 9th day, you might not know where you are, but
It would be hard for me to go 20 or 25 mile an hour for a long period of time.
you know, I've been a car enthusiast my whole life and did car shows and stuff like that, and that was all well and good. But the first time I went to Joplin, Missouri on that rally with the rental car, and I saw all these cars out being driven, and it was rain, and you know what? They had to do it. And no matter what the weather was, they were out there driving these cars. And I've seen cars, you know, teams from Japan brought $1 million cars.
Oh my gosh.
Toyota GT 2000. And,
Is that right?
And they're out there driving it on a dirt road on Route 66. I'm like,
cow.
wow, I like this. You know, you wear them out. I mean, that's not a lot of people will do that.
No. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were traveling on NASCAR's dime. You know, it didn't cost us anything. Worked out real well. And then, of course, Bill got the car back, and then they went ahead and did it the following year, but I couldn't get off work that year. So we could have done 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
But Bill did with the car, and now it's out in California. We borrowed it from him a few times for displays at the NASCAR Hall of Fame for Bill France. And he's been kind enough to loan the car back to us, but he's still got all the original decals and the aces and everything on there. Yeah, it's a kind of a prestige thing, you know.
It is, and it's like a big family. Once you get into it, as a rookie, you get all the help from the veterans, and we'll help you in any way we can, because knowing what to do and executing it is two different stories.
Oh boy,
it's you know who wins the great race? Whoever made the least amount of mistakes.
That's right.
Because we all make the mistakes. So whoever does the least wins it. And I can tell you everything I know, and it might help you, might hurt you.
Yeah.
We don't know. Whatever works for you.
But you're talking about how can you go that distance driving? You are so intent on what you're doing, you don't even realize the time going by.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just totally concentrating on that speedometer, or if you're a navigator, on the clock, and the time flies.
How many years have you done it in a row? 15?
No, this will be my 10th year coming up.
10th year?
I drove for 7, I navigated for 2, so this is number 10.
So you had the 64 Impala. I assume you sold that to somebody else in
Nope.
there?
Nope.
You still have
I
it?
still have it.
Okay.
It's race ready.
Is it?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
You looking for a team?
You know,
that's
and another thing too is like, you know, when they give you the directions, Clausen he'll have you going 50 down the highway, and he'll say take the first paved road, 50 out. Well, in a 32 Ford or 64 Impala, you can't take that turn 50 at 50.
Oh, that's right.
So we'll have to go from 50, and we chose a speed of 15 because there isn't a turn that we can't take at 15.
Right.
So she'll go from 50 to 15 back to 50. Now it's up to me to figure out how much time she lost decelerating and accelerating.
Right.
So I'll say, okay, we're down 7 seconds. So now she's got to go over the 50 mile an hour speed by however we choose to do it.
Yeah.
Whether say we use 10% rule, which is 10% for 10 seconds makes up a second.
That's right.
So if she's down 7 seconds, she'll have to go 55 for 70 seconds.
Right.
And then we get her back to 50, and we're good to go. And that hopefully gets executed properly.
You got to do a lot of ciphering.
It's a whole all day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you wear out a couple pencils in a day.
Yeah. And you must do it right because you got a whole row of aces on your roof there. Yeah. How many aces did you guys accumulate?
My wife and I have done like 12 in 2 years.
Really?
So that's
incredible. That's getting it right on the exact second when you go by the checkpoint. That's incredible.
So you get a decal on your car.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, like a wind sticker in NASCAR, you know.
Yep.
Kind of like Ohio State when they have players they get a star in their helmet or something like
right.
that.
Sure.
Okay.
It is it's a sign of prestige when you get an ace. Even if you had one, it shows that you really knew what you were doing at least that one time.
And there's a lot of people that'll do it rookies. We get about 40 rookies every year. There's a waiting list, obviously, from what people have been saying, but the first year we call them bucket listers. They'll come in just to do it, just get it off their bucket list.
Yeah.
And then after that's done, you might see them a second year, and if you do, they got bit by it, and they're going to be back
for sure.
year after year.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Tony.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's Original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A and Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's Original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Thanks to you, the original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill has been voted top 10 beach bar in Florida year after year after year. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKinn, and co-host, Gary Keller.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We do appreciate that. This segment's being brought to you locally by Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, voted one of the top 5 markets in the country by USA Weekend. And visit our Shop Now network and our Shop Now at Daytona Flea and Farmers Market Facebook page for the latest in vendor tours. And after several weeks of missing you, we've got Tony back.
Man, we did.
It's good to have you back,
It
bud.
was like null and void, man. 2 weeks is too long.
Yeah.
Or was it 3 weeks?
First, I had a quick question for Buzz. In the vein of NASCAR conspiracies, I saw a discussion that the France family was favoring one manufacturer over another because they had a dealership.
No. Oh, the Francis?
Did they ever have a... I didn't think
no.
so.
A lot of the times back in the day, way back, it depended on whose check cleared first.
Yeah.
They always felt like that would be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
I did have a question. You've driven and navigated. What's it take to be a good navigator? I'm a miserable passenger.
I can't tell you. You have to ask a good navigator that. I call myself a navigesser.
Navigesser. Yeah, I drove the first week, and then I navigated the second week, and that navigation is pretty damn tough.
I think everyone should do both seats.
Right.
If you're going to get into it, you should do both seats.
And I mean, you got to be calculating all the time, and especially when you're coming to a stop sign, and you got to figure out what your speed is going in and then going out. Getting up to the traveling speed, and holy cow, it's quite an experience.
So growing up in Mass, UMass, was it? Were you always a car enthusiast?
I bought my first car when I was 11 years old, and I've had many since. And in my collection, I have over 100 vehicles today.
Do you really?
Oh my gosh!
Right now you do?
Right now.
Do you
that's
really?
incredible.
Yeah. So you have it's a huge facility where you're at.
Big facility.
Really? How many square feet?
Well, there's multiple buildings, but it's probably 40,000 square feet.
No kidding.
Yeah. Wow.
Your favorite piece?
It's a Model A street rod. It's down
Really?
here. It's down here. Yep.
You should hook up with Rich Combs. He's got some nice pieces out there at Spruce Creek at the hangar.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. That's interesting. So your first car?
Volkswagen wagon.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
11
no kidding.
years old. Drove it home. Got in trouble.
Yeah.
You drove it home?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah. I didn't get in trouble with the law, but the father didn't like that.
Oh, jeez. Has there ever been a Volkswagen do the Great Race?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This Volkswagen thing does one every year, and a guy, a
The
friend of
thing.
mine.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, he's from Florida, from Tampa, and there's a guy out of California also doing. Bob, he does it in a 62, and he's very competitive.
Really?
Yep.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, like
That's
you said, it's not
amazing.
about power. It's not the who has the most power. It's who can be the most disciplined.
That's right. Yeah, and it is discipline too.
Yeah.
Are you a race fan?
I am.
You like NASCAR,
I am.
Formula
Oh,
One?
yeah. No, I raced at Thompson Speedway. I owned a
Did
car
you?
up there for over 20 years. Sure.
Yeah.
Pro stock or a super late model.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's right up Bill's alley
That
right
is.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
No, Thompson was our home track. Then we did Pass. Raced up at Star. Yeah, we've had. Yep.
Do you miss it?
I like the Great Race. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of your DNA now.
You might have to do an engine every few years because you wear them out, which is okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not clipping a car every other week.
Oh. Right.
I'm not missing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So to be able to afford all these pieces that you have in this 40,000 square feet, what kind of business were you in? Or livelihood? Do you mind me asking?
No, not at all. I at 15 years old, I went into business with my two older brothers, and we built gas stations.
Do you really?
And it was a niche industry, and it was very lucrative. And
so
it's
kind of cookie cutter
the
locations?
No. Everyone is different, every customer, but the major oil companies and the independents have treated us well, and the business is still in business. And in our heyday, between the three different divisions we had a couple hundred people, and it's down to about 70 guys, and the kids run it today.
No kidding.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Wow,
great.
you've done very well then.
Yep.
Good for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
How
Stayed healthy.
How many places have you built?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands. No kidding.
Yeah, thousands.
Yeah. A lot of traveling.
Yeah, all over New England.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. How long have you been in business?
Since 1980.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You come a long way.
Yep.
That's amazing.
45 years.
40. Yeah, it's our 46th season. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So now you're kicking back and having a good time.
Loving life down here in Daytona on the beach.
That's great.
Yep.
That is great. Yeah. So, do you come down for the beach parade?
I have been here for the beach parade. Yeah. Yep.
You were gonna do it again this year?
Yeah. I was asked to drive a car one year, but somebody else filled in. I didn't get to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then maybe you'll pick up a ride this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill, who was supposed to be here, he had a few in that year.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure going to miss Studebaker Bob.
Yeah, old Studebaker Bob. He was a great friend.
Yep. I can still see him sitting right over there.
Yep, with his Ray Fox hat on.
Eating his shrimp.
Yep.
Yeah.
He always had a great appetite.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he knew more about Studebakers than anybody in the world. I
tell you,
guarantee.
he did. Yeah, God love him.
Yeah.
You know, we've lost some good people just since I've been doing the show for the last 3.5 years.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. It's time marches on, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob had he had a big garage located up outside of the land, and he had it set up just like a Studebaker dealership. He had a guest lounge. He had a parts department. He had a service area. It was great, and everything's all Studebaker, and it was incredible. He had the great big parts books up there on the parts counter, and he really enjoyed himself. Then he built a Studebaker race car. You'll see it out here. It'll be a red number 18.
Okay.
It still comes out here to the beach. And
Do you think it'll be here this year?
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah.
Family didn't get rid of it?
I don't think so.
Really?
No.
I hope so.
Yeah. He was a great guy, though.
Yes.
I'm sure. Well, the deal we went to the year we were in the race, there was an old fellow from Oklahoma. He was 93 years old, and he and his son had a 5-window Chevy 1950 pickup. And all he wanted to do was drive in the great race or ride in the great race. He was a navigator. His son was a driver. And it was just he and his son. They didn't have a chase vehicle. And they drove it from Oklahoma to Jacksonville, and then from Jacksonville to Monterey, and then back to Oklahoma. And he was telling me that he had already put his money down for the following year, which would have been '05, and that they were going to do it again. Now, I don't know if the fellow lived long enough to do it again, but he was they finished last, but they had a great time.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, that was, he fulfilled a dream, and more power to him.
Yes.
You know, part of the great race, too, is the transportation of vehicles. So when I had that 64 Impala, we would ship it or trailer it to a location.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really have a chase vehicle with, like, parts and tools.
Right.
We had everything in the vehicle. But wherever we finished the great race, I drove the car home from.
Oh, okay.
So if it finished in Santa Monica Pier, my navigator would fly home, and I would jump in that car and drive it home by myself across country.
You're crazy.
So
You ain't right.
I did 90,000 miles on that car in 7 years.
Holy
Really.
cow, is that right?
I did that trip from San Diego home one time, and I thought, never again.
It's one thing to jump in a new, Cummins diesel and do
Yeah.
it, but it's another to jump in a 64 Impala. And,
Yeah.
when I finished in Halifax, I drove it home. Tacoma, Washington, we drove it home.
Oh,
I mean,
my
no matter
gosh.
where we finished, I
Is
drove
that
the car
right?
home. Yeah.
Jeez, that's amazing.
I haven't done it with the flathead, but
Yeah. Did you
A lot of soul searching there, young man.
Yeah.
Boy, that's for sure. Hey, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with Pete LaMountain.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Dog House, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month, and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
All righty. Thank you so much, everybody. We're here with Pete LaMountain, and we're bringing back some grand memories of driving cross-country or all over the country with the great race. And it's been in existence for, about...
since the 80s, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Interstate Battery was behind it. He and...
Tom McRae and Miller.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Hey, this segment's being brought to you locally by the Homewood Suites by Hilton over on Bill France Boulevard. Wonderful place, great people. Free happy hour, free breakfast, great breakfast with meat and everything, and every room's a suite. And if you have anybody coming to town, you want to show off a little bit, get them hooked up with the Homewood Suites by Hilton. And we got Larry. Hey, Larry.
Larry.
Hey, guys.
All right.
We missed you last week, too.
Yeah, I'm turning into a celebrity on this show. Hi, Pete. Welcome here.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if you ever run into something hairy on the roads, like doing that. You said you went up Pikes Peak and stuff like that, but was there ever a time when you felt like, God damn, might not get out of this?
I'll tell you what. I did the Coca Challenge, which was in Tennessee area, and a lot of hills and mountains, and I always drove at that point, and my navigator couldn't make it, so I had somebody else drive for me. And we were going up that hill, and I realized that he's watching the speedo and not the road.
Oh, boy.
I realized just how much faith my navigator had in me. Because when I heard the wheel go off into the gravel on the right-hand side, I was and I'm looking down, I can't see a bottom. I was a little nervous. and we weren't even lost. You know?
Holy cow, that would change your attitude toward God, I guess, wouldn't it?
I was on Needles Highway in South Dakota, and going slow speeds up a hill. The car vapor locked.
Oh.
The electric pump, dual pumps, it just didn't push it through. So I had to get off and cool it down. Lost some time. And I remember telling my navigator to make the start point. We were in transit, luckily. So to get to my start point on time, I just remember telling him, don't look up.
Oh.
Because the speed limit was 15 miles an hour. I was probably doing 45, and I was passing 4 or 5 cars.
Holy
so
cow.
I said, just don't look up. Just do yourself a favor. Look at the papers. And, that doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And you can put in a time delay. I mean, you don't have to be unsafe.
Yeah.
They promote safety and all that. But again, like everything, I mean, you know what you can get away with and what you can't, you know?
Do they give you a mulligan?
No.
No, you don't get a mulligan, huh?
Well, they do take they take away some bad scores for you.
Oh, that's good.
So like if you have a bad day and you get a 2-minute leg, that doesn't mean you're going to keep it. They'll drop, it depends on what class you're in, because they have different classifications from grand champs to experts to sportsmen to rookie.
Yeah.
And then they got a thing called the X Cup, which is all kids.
Oh, yeah. Boy, those
schools.
kids are amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Holy cow, these kids are wizards.
Yeah, the only thing is there has to be an 18-year-old driver, but then you can have a 14-year-old navigator.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome to see them out there doing it.
That's
seeing
great.
it get promoted.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a kid that was on our race, Sawyer.
Yeah.
He was only about 12 or 13. He and his grandfather ran, and they did incredibly well. And this kid is like a walking computer. And I understand he's still racing.
They didn't do this last year, but yeah, Stone Age Racing, Rita Stone. He's he works for Roush now. He works for Jack
does
Roush.
he really?
Yeah.
The kid was brilliant.
He I think he had his doctorate at 15 years old.
Jeez.
That's how smart he was.
Isn't that amazing?
It is, yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Now, you talked about not wanting to drive very much, Gary. I bet this could light a fire under you.
I don't think so.
You know.
No, I'm sorry. I love you. I'll live vicariously through the two of you, and you can explain it all you want. But to me, driving has become just such a waste of time.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've driven from Cincinnati, Ohio to Daytona.
Yes.
I'm going to say probably at least 40.
Oh, I'd say.
So, I mean, and by the time you get on a plane, you know how it is, drive to the airport, wait, fly down to Daytona, and then you have to rent a car. I just soon hop in my truck, drive down here, and that's what I usually do.
Yep.
So it's just too much driving. I don't know. Driving from California and Seattle and all those areas, I just can't fathom all those trips that you've made.
And just for the record, when I'm not doing it in a rally car, I do it on a motorcycle for fun.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, I've driven from Alaska to from Massachusetts to Alaska to Mexico, back home.
Really?
Yeah, 20,000 miles in
Holy
a month and a half. Oh yeah.
You're
That's
something
amazing.
else, man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Talk about a rough character. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's
So I
amazing.
have to ask you, all those 40 cars, do you still have a Volkswagen wagon?
I do not have a Volkswagen wagon.
Do you?
I do have a Volkswagen, but not a wagon.
Not a wagon.
Yeah.
So they're coming out with a new electric one, right? Volkswagen is?
Yeah, I didn't keep it.
Huh?
They can keep it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's not burning dinosaurs. I'm not
But
interested.
one thing that does excite me is that they're coming out with the new 57 version of the 57 Chev.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
General Motors is coming out with am I correct on that? Maybe Rich or Mike can verify that. Yeah, but General Motors is coming out with a replica of the 57 Chev
Holy
electric version, yeah.
Well, wouldn't that be something to get a hold of, huh?
Are you sure you didn't see that? Then your alarm
No,
clock went off?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Maybe somebody can validate me out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Pete brought a couple of his cohorts with him. We got
Rick Horn,
Rick, and Dan.
Dan Curtis.
Yeah, they're his cohorts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys do the trip as well, huh? Good.
Rick's the one who drove that time in Chattanooga, Tennessee for me. And that was my first time navigating, and I should apologize to him, but I won't. And Dan is my support crew, so we got all different angles covered here. We got driver, navigator, support. We've seen it, everything that Great Race can offer, we've seen.
Yeah, I have to ask you. So you've done this trip 10 times. You've driven a lot of miles, seen a lot of the country.
Yep.
The most fascinating, beautiful, picturesque part of the country, in your opinion?
We live in a beautiful country. To pick one place is, I mean, why people would want to go travel outside of it.
I get it.
And you know, I've done motorcycle trips and I've done interstate and I try to do back roads, but when you do the Great Race, it puts you into back roads and backfield areas that you just never do. And then to get the reception of, you know, anywhere up to 10,000 people when you pull into town, it's just incredible. But, you know, we live in a beautiful country, and I mean, I like gorges and mountains, you know. I mean, I like that type of stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's kind of neat, too, is along the road, especially on the little two-lane country roads, you get folks that come out and they bring their lawn chairs and they put their American flag up and they beep and wave to you.
Oh, we love that because that means you're on the right path.
That's right, yeah.
When you're wondering if you're on the right track and you see that, it's like, good. We're safe.
This almost seems like a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like they could make a movie.
Well,
out of
they've done shows. Bucket List was Jesse Combs did it, and they filmed it, and that was called Bucket List of everything you should do. Sam's Garage did it this year. He's got his 13 or 14 part series, and they're all pretty amazed at what we do. You know, they all think, oh, this is gonna, you know, it's gonna be boring. By day 9, they're like, wow, sign me up again. You know, it's that addicting.
Yep.
Buzz, you've traveled a lot throughout our country. What's the most picturesque, beautiful place that you know of?
Oh, it's got to be the Colorado mountains.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a mountain freak.
Yep.
Are you?
And I thought I'd seen mountains until I saw the Rockies, and it was just amazing. And the Rockies were snow-capped, and this big, gigantic, dark storm cloud was coming up over the mountains, and you had the contrast between the black cloud and the white of the snow, and it just gives shivers down your spine, really.
I have to say, to me, California, Nevada, Lake Tahoe. To me, Doris, that's mine and hers, one of our favorite places, and just the beauty.
Cradle Lake. I mean, there's dozens I could just.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be right back with Pete LaMountain and reliving old memories.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1- and 2-bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
Thank you, everyone. We do appreciate that. And, you know, it's coming around to Daytona 500 time, and we've got tickets.
Man.
Can you imagine how quick that's coming?
Yep.
That's crazy. And we got tickets. Yeah, there you go. The pause sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're doing ARCA testing this weekend.
That's what I heard.
This week, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we got 4 tickets to the Oldfield Tower, and the chances on 2 of them is $25, and that's a heck of a deal.
There you go, Dave.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there you go. So when you pay your $25 for a chance, you're actually getting 2 chances on 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And it's a heck of a deal, and you can see Danny or Mike or any of us here for that.
Goes to a good cause.
Yep, he goes to the foundation, and we would be tickled to death to have someone right here win those tickets. We think that would be really neat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of Massachusetts, we've got Bill Cushion back. Hello, Bill.
Oh, man.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
How are you today?
Good to
Been
see you
a while
back.
there, Bill.
Glad you're back, man.
Well, I guess we got to lay it on the table. Whereabouts in Massachusetts you from?
Central Mass, Oxford.
Oxford.
Yep.
Oh, I know where Oxford
11 miles from Thompson.
Oh, boy.
I'm an Agawam guy.
Okay.
Home of Riverside
Riverside
Park.
Park, sure.
Right. Started off there, and now I'm a Stafford guy.
Yep.
I almost killed myself in a big block modified trying to run Thompson in an antique race car with Buick brakes. They only last about 3 laps, and then it's all gone. I have to tell you, when I was a kid, we went in a rally, and everybody missed on the aeronautical equestrian.
What world is that?
It's the Flying Red Horse at a mobile station.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's
okay.
right, yeah.
Everybody was supposed to turn there, and nobody did.
Yeah.
So I always remembered what an aeronautical equestrian is. My question to you, Can you use a laptop computer or anything?
No computers, no phones, no calculators.
No nothing.
No,
So
you use a pencil and we are allowed a stopwatch.
well, I guess that would help. But
Yeah.
I'm sitting back there saying, an app on my phone would have helped that out a
No.
whole lot to be where
Phones
you
are
were.
not allowed. Phones got to get put in the trunk.
Yeah.
Can you have any ringers on the side of the road to tell you if you're above or beyond the limits?
I think it might take away from the spirit of the event, but
It's a gray area, Bill.
yeah.
I mean, I can't think but Jack Roush is in it.
But-
He came up with some way to cheat.
But
or
you
something.
wouldn't you wouldn't know the route because you don't get the directions until a half hour before you're ready to go. So any notes you need to make on them directions, you only got 30 minutes before you're out the door. So typically we'll do up to lunch. And then at lunch, while the driver's eating, the navigator's figuring out the second part of the day. So there isn't a lot of surprise. You don't have time to prepare for much. You just got to know what to do.
And I know you said nitrogen in tires. Is there anything else you can do on a car?
They want error correct. They do allow disc brakes. So like the 32 has disc brakes on the front. Under guise of safety. When we go through the desert and stuff, if you want to add air, they allow you to do that. Motor, you can't have like a V8 and if I put a small block Chevy in this 32, I'd get scored as a 57 the first year that motor came out. Even as far as the flathead goes, the 21 stud versus the 24. If I run a 21 stud, because I can be still a 32. If I put a 24 stud, they'd score me as a 38. Doesn't sound like much, but I don't want to give up that 6 years of factor.
Yeah,
Well,
that
it
could
sounds
come in
like they
handy.
go through tech.
They go through
inspection to
tech.
Check everything to
They
make
go
sure
through
you're
tech.
right.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like it's thrilling to do. I wish I was about 30 or 40 years younger and had, Gary's money or something. I would give this the world. So, but good luck to you. And hey, thank you for coming.
Thank
it's very
you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Come
thank
back
you,
and
Bill.
see us, will you?
I will.
We appreciate that, Bill. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
has been a great show. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, this has
It's
been
fun.
great, huh?
Yeah,
We could do another one.
we could.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
enough there.
I'm sure
for
there's some more stories that we could pry out of you.
I'm just so nervous. I don't even know what I said.
Oh, you're out.
you done good.
Done
You
good.
done, didn't he do good, folks? Huh?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. All right, you got fans out there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So when does this next race take place?
They start in June, the end of June, typically around the 22nd or so, and it goes into, for 9 days.
Yep.
So, yep.
Yeah, you spend the 4th of July in the car.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're usually done right around the 4th of July. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, it does sound like it's grueling. It's not for the meek and mild.
No, you gotta dig a little deep. Yeah, if you're in it and there are people who will do it and just do a joy ride. They don't care about the score. They come in last and they're accepting that, and those are the cars when I said 105 finish on scoring. Well, they might have still finished. They might have been 110th. They just didn't get scored, but they had a great time just enjoying the country.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the cars are amazing. They had one car there that raced in the Indy 500 in 1934.
Are you serious?
Yep. And the thing was beautiful.
Yeah.
Magnificent. And some of these cars are museum pieces. And then they go out there and they go racing.
A lot of people will take cars out of museums. Those are the ones that don't finish.
Oh, really?
They got to be gone through, and your car's got to be top shelf. If you're not just like a race, if you're not prepared for that race, you're not gonna do well in the great race.
For sure.
There was one particular time we were up at Mount Washington, and they allowed us at lunchtime to go up the top of the mountain.
Really?
And I wouldn't do it with the rally car because I didn't want to hurt the brakes and wear it out.
Sure.
I'm a little cautious of that. But these two old gentlemen who were much, much older than the young guy that just spoke, Bill. These guys were in their 90s, and they were in a big Pontiac, a big Buick wagon, and they lost their brakes coming down Mount Washington.
A big Roadmaster.
A big wagon, Roadmaster wagon.
Oh, my God.
There's a YouTube video of it, too, if you look at it. But there was a car coming, and they went by the car, and then they went up, and they flipped on their side, rolled. Then they rolled back on the wheels, and it started going again. So the Mustang, who was in the great race, ran in front of them and turned to stop them.
No kidding.
So, that car still does the Mustang still does the great race.
Yeah.
And it still has the dent. They won't fix it.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
That's
man,
something
what a
else.
story.
That's a story forever,
Can you see that Mustang trying to stop that heavy Roadmaster, though? That'd be a sight.
Well, there's some folks who got to say thank you, too, for helping us put this on. We've got Danny over there on the board. We appreciate that, Danny. And we got Mike and Dave over here with the applause signs.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah. And Dennis, we thank you for your help today. And Tony and
Larry
and Bill We thank you for your questions. Yeah, we would like to have had a question from Rich, but I'm sure that they'll get together before this is all over with there. And the Florida Short Track Racing Legends Reunion has a car show at New Smyrna Speedway on January 26th. It's car shows and show cars, or race cars and show cars. And there'll be a parts, what do you want to call it? The parts
Swap meet.
There you go. Swap meet. That's good. Yep, and it's free. So come on down on the 26th. It's from noon to 4, and it's the Florida Short Track Racing Legends Reunion, and it should be a pretty good deal. I know we'll be there. Don't forget about Ken Schrader at the Living Legends of Auto Racing meeting on the 28th. That's at the Drive-In Christian Church. And I don't know about you, but I've had a wonderful time today. How about y'all?
Yeah. This Daytona 500 is really going to be exciting. We've got Castroneves. I'll just say Castroneves.
Oh, yeah, Castroneves.
Is going to try to make an attempt. And Mike Wallace, as we talked last week, is going to make an attempt. So, I mean, there's 8 spots. 4 of those cars will get in. 4 will go home, unfortunately.
Yep.
But the Daytona 500, I think this year, maybe because it's been so cold, I think people are really looking forward to racing season again.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, on the internet, there's a lot about racing and Formula One. I mean, Formula One has attacked America.
Yes, they have.
You know, it's
they're
exciting.
They're kind of winning too.
You know, you got Austin, Texas. You've got Miami, Florida, and you got Las Vegas. Formula One is really taking this country a hold of it.
Boy, and it took them a long time to get an audience here.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't give tickets away at one time.
And now we've got the Andretti's going into Formula One with Cadillac, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so
should be interesting for sure.
I mean, the racing world is still here, still trying to survive. It survives in Europe. I'd like to see NASCAR re-erect, itself again, and get popular again.
Oh yeah,
like it used to be.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks
Great
everybody
show.
for coming.
Thanks,
We
man.
really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks,
How about
everybody,
Pete
for showing
LaMountain?
up.
Heck
Yes,
of a
sir.
deal.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, pal.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Yep.
The Legends of Racing radio show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began. Racing's North Turn